My curiosity about God in eternity came about when my grandfather died. I was 7 years old back then. As I stared intensely at his lifeless body, I felt a surging sensation about death and shuddered at the thought of it. At that very moment, I asked, does it end here? Thus began my search to make sense of why do we even bother to exist and to find answers to the question, is there really a God? After some time, my search uncovered more questions. Is this all life can offer? Why live then die? Is there life after that? What is the meaning and purpose of life? If there is a God, how can I know Him? Since I was an agnostic, I attended religious exercises as an observer and never as participant. I strongly felt that adults did not take me seriously. Eventually, I became preoccupied with the idea of death since I was born with frail lungs. It was medically predicted that I might not be able to reach high school. That fanned the flame to search even further. Concerning family beliefs, my father's side was predominantly a mixture of atheists and agnostics. My mother's side, on the other hand, was composed of spiritists and animists. So I was born in the middle of two diametrically opposing or conflicting worldviews. At age 12, I embraced atheism. I abandoned the thought that God, angels, or demons might exist. I despised heaven and hell, but more so the latter. I denied the concept of original sin. I even ripped a Bible to pieces just to prove that I would not dare believe in it. I viewed religion as a necessary invention to put society in order, and God was man's most treasured invention. At age 15, my desperation to understand the meaning of life got worse. The idea of death had overtaken me so much that I intentionally kept myself awake for fear of not waking up. I only experienced sleep whenever I got weary of fighting it. And each time I woke up, I was extremely thankful. The painful part, though, was there was no one to give thanks to. During the day, I feared the uncertainty of finding meaning, and it pained me to end the day without answers. One day at school, a classmate befriended me. He was a sincere fellow. Soon enough, he introduced himself as a follower of Jesus. You know what happens next. We had friendly conversations about worldviews, and he made sense. The way he conducted his life slowly disarmed my defensive attitude towards religion. His friends were the strangest kind of people. Watching how they behaved made me think they were from another world. I failed to discern what makes them attractively different. But one thing was certain. I always wanted to be with them, even if I disliked them. I often declined to join their Bible studies, but eventually I agreed. Then I heard the story about Jesus walking on water, and I thought, how could someone even control the laws of physics and chemistry? I wanted to leave immediately, but I hesitated when I heard the gospel. Then I heard splashes of waves. I looked around, figuring out if they're making sound effects for dramatic purposes. There was none. My heart pounded really fast. Then I smelled something like salt water. My heart pounded even faster. Imaginary sensations should not be alive when you don't generate them. I strongly felt they were being forced upon me. And then the unspeakable happened. I whispered, "Is that you, God?" Then a fresh breeze of wind blew on my face. I felt comfort. It was the strangest kind, but it was real. My senses were so much alive. Then I felt ashamed of the things I thought and said about God. That night, I dared myself to believe in Jesus as the Son of God. My first prayer was intellectually and emotionally awkward, but I slept well that night, and I woke up thanking God. Then I told my family that I had found in Jesus the meaning that I desperately searched for. And my newfound faith was challenged. I learned patience and prayer. Eventually, they also came to know the Lord, but it took some time. Presently, I serve God by leading a D group every Sunday afternoon, while in the morning, I co-lead a D group composed of next-gen graduates. I'm also a next-gen life shaper. In my 30 years of engaging children, I have had priceless opportunities to share Christ and make Christianity understandable to them. I also serve as a speaker at the Apologetics Forum, where we help believers engage the intellectual and cultural challenges to the Christian faith. I always thank God for my wife, family, and friends who love me despite the abrasive nature of my imperfection. God is real and active in making himself known to people. I'm still growing in the knowledge of God, both in character and practice. I'm Mel Viloria, once a believer in the fake news of Satan, now a committed follower of Jesus. To him be all the glory and honor. Thank you.